Hola, buenos días.
Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
This is Barb.
And this is Estella.
And welcome to
Cafecito.
And Crime. Hola, everybody. I hope everyone's having a good day, a good night, wherever you're at. So sorry about last week. It was my turn, and I think that after me dio mi putazo, if anybody doesn't know, I fell and I broke my face and I had 11 stitches. After that, I just felt like I was just tired. I didn't feel good. I slept a lot. So I was just like, you know what, Estella? I'm not having nothing this week. So Estella was like, you're fired.
I mean, you could have told me. I could have done a case,
Yeah, because I thought the whole time I was, but then I didn't. Yeah. So anyway, but welcome back. So tell me, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I would like to know why you're wearing glasses inside of my garage.
I was, not anymore, but I'll put them back on.
Yeah.
Because it's really sunny outside todavía. It is, right? Yeah, sun's out.
But we are in the garage.
Pero the sun's in here.
Okay. Well, whatever.
Y especially right now que si dura la luz,
Mm-hmm.
And then I just got off my car with the glasses.
You don't have to put them on, though. No? Okay. Anyway, so today we are going to Dublin, California.
Okay.
It's kind of...
I've never heard of Dublin, California.
It's kind of an Orange County area.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
So it's down there. I didn't never heard about Dublin, California, but I imagine since California is so big, there's a lot of places I haven't heard of.
Yeah.
But
especially since you said it's in Orange County.
Yeah, está por allí. O sea, don't quote me. Anyway.
You didn't look it up?
I was just like, Dublin, California. Okay, cool. So this case is actually a case that they do have a Netflix special on this case.
Okay.
So it's in that the worst ex ever.
Okay.
It's one of the episodes from there. Mm-hmm. So I hate watching TV porque luego I want to binge everything y luego ya no tengo que ver. Right now, I finished all the episodes in less than 3 days.
Yeah, well, you can... Doesn't it recommend you stuff?
Yeah, but most of them, I don't know. I don't know. People were talking about some other things. I usually go on TikTok and I see what's on and popping, pero no me llamó nada la atención.
Oh, okay.
Pero yeah, so we are going to, like I said, Dublin. If you would like to come with us to Dublin, California,
go ahead and grab your cafecito.
And let's get started. So, fun random facts of Dublin. So, I thought this was so cool. I don't know why. So, originally, the land belonged to Jose Maria Amador, okay? In 1835, he was given 16,000 acres of land for his service as a Mexican soldier. Yeah. You imagine now people would get land
What the fuck do you do with 16,000 acres?
Pues no sé. But he was a miner and a rancher. There's a picture of him and everything.
Yeah. Con su bigotito
así aquí. Yeah,
¿Como de Cantinflas o no?
Como de Pancho Villa.
Okay.
And then al principio, the valley was named after him. So it was
Jose Maria.
It was known as Amador Valley.
Okay.
But in 1850, it was sold to Irish settlers.
Who sold it? He did?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah.
¿Toda? ¿Todos los 16,000 acres or some of it?
Some of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And the city name is derived from
Dublin, Ireland.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
So it's likely due to the presence of the Irish settlers in the area. It is said that the green rolling hills que había cuando they moved in or they settled there reminded the founders of Dublin, Ireland. Y por eso they named it Dublin.
And it's Dublin to this day?
To this day.
That's cool.
In addition, the TV show Mythbusters. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I was like, oh my God, what is Mythbusters? Because I know a lot of people don't watch that, pero it's
You've heard of it.
I've heard of it. So this is a show que they bust myths. So I was like, oh, that's it.
Or they disprove them or whatever.
Sí.
Yeah.
And so then they actually filmed, they filmed 50 of their episodes in Dublin, California.
Okay, cool.
At the Alameda County Sheriff's Office, which is the bomb disposal range.
Oh.
So one time.
Do they dispose of bombs?
Yes.
There?
So una vez, dicen, no sé, no me creas, pero dicen por ahí.
You weren't there?
I wasn't there.
Okay.
Que they were doing the myth busting y explotó una bomba and it scared like the people because pensaban que they were like actually bombing them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they called like they were all like really scared or whatever. So they stopped doing that for a little bit. So today we're going to begin our case on January the 7th in 2009.
Okay.
Okay. The Dublin Police Department received a phone call. And there is this phone call out there. You can actually on the show, on Netflix, you can hear the phone call. And it was a resident stating that they could hear some screaming from the home of Selma. Sally is what they called her as like como de cariño. Le decían Sally, pero se llamaba Selma.
Okay.
Y ella se apellida Hill.
Okay.
Sally was a 91-year-old great-grandma. Well, she was a great-grandma at that time. And she lived in the home with her grandson, Eric Hill. The phone call just stated that there was someone was screaming from the home saying, please don't kill me. So when the police arrives to the scene, there's a lot of commotion. Like había muchas cosas que ver y todo esto. There's a white male standing at some stairs and two Asian women standing away looking towards the police, and the white male is
it an apartment complex or a home?
it's a house.
Okay.
So they go upstairs, and because they're hearing the commotion, they go upstairs.
Okay.
The phone call stated that there was just a lot of screaming, so they were concerned of what was going on. Now, when the police gets to the top of the stairs, they see that there's blood spatter, right? So they have no idea who is armed and who's the victim at this point. Right. So they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they tell the male to settle down, whatever. And all he keeps saying is, hey, where's my grandma? Where's my grandma? So before they take him into custody, they talk to him and he's like, my grandma is missing. Okay. So let us discuss a little bit about the people who was in the home.
Okay.
First, which is Rosa Hill. She is one of the Asian women that was standing in front of Eric. Okay. So Rosa Lee was born to parents Mei Lee and Ping Lee in Hong Kong. The couple moves to California when Rosa is about 10 or 11, como de esa edad. And Rosa was very aplicada and she was very good at studies. And she actually she was able to study applied mathematics and became an engineer.
Okay.
She gets a job in the early 2000s as engineer at like a tech company. There's not really much that says about her, childhood or anything like that. So now we're in the 2000s. Around this time, Mai worked as a social, Mai, which is the other lady. Mai Lee is the mother of Rosa. Okay.
So era la mamá y la hija.
La mamá y la hija. And Mai worked at social services in California and Medicaid program. So that's what she did. So Mai invited her coworker, Eric Hill, to a hiking excursion with some other people they were going to meet up. So this is where Mai introduced Rosa, her daughter, to Eric.
Her coworker.
Okay. Right? So Eric is known to be very quiet. He's very introverted. And he was okay with the little push that I guess Mai le dio, ¿verdad? Eric lived in Alameda, California. And he was described to be as a geek. Like, él estaba como, he played a lot of video games. He was just shy. And also, his background was that he did struggle immensely with depression to a point where there is record, or maybe like somewhere that I saw, this wasn't in the documentary, but there was some reports of him having to try to unalive himself. Okay. So they hit it off at the hike, and Eric took a chance and asked Rosa on a date.
Okay. So I'm assuming they were around the same age?
Yes. Okay. So I think that Eric is a few years older than her. At this point, they're in their early 30s. Okay. So they start to date. Now, Rosa is Eric's first girlfriend.
Okay.
So he didn't really know how
a relationship went.
Exactly. So they were doing many things, and very often the couple would meet with other friends, and the couple even met, Eric's dad.
Oh, so ella brought him out of his shell
a little bit, yeah. Pero there's a lot of pictures that I saw in the docu, they would take pictures hiking or afuera or that kind of thing. So they were
active.
Yeah. So the only thing is that los friends de Eric y el papá de Eric said that they did see something kind of weird about Rosa. It was that Rosa, like if they would go and ask her a question, she wouldn't answer it. She would whisper it to Eric, and then Eric would respond it.
Mm.
Yeah.
When they asked her a question
So they would
directly
be like, oye, ¿cuántos años tienes? And then she would be like,
to Eric.
And then Eric,
tengo 32. And,
así,
and Eric would be like, she's 32.
She's 32. So, I mean, I don't know if that's really a red flag.
I mean, it's odd, sure, pero pues everybody has their quirks, I guess.
Yeah. The family and friends around him thought it was a bit alarming, pero...
Alarming?
I guess because at another time, Eric did see that Rosa was kind of listening into his phone calls and stuff, como que era un poco metichita.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Eric didn't really care about that, but his...
And like you said, he hadn't been in a relationship before.
Exactly.
So what other people saw as being, I guess, weird or a red flag, he was just like, I don't know. I mean, it's fine.
That's just the way she is.
Yeah.
You know? And so, but he just put it off. Like,
yeah.
and
he didn't think anything of it.
Yeah. In 2004, 2 years after dating, Eric proposed to Rosa.
Okay.
And she accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, his family was really happy for him, including his grandma, Sally.
Mm-hmm.
She was happy to see Eric with someone to maybe even start a family with or whatever. She was just excited. There's pictures of them together with grandma y todo. Which is, la mamá de Rosa or la suegra, was super happy as well, especially since she's the one that introduced him.
Yeah. And she knew Eric,
Yeah. So everyone just seemed to be really excited for them. The couple marries in 2005, but not long after, Eric did begin to spend less time with his family, and he would spend more time with Rosa, which,
I guess it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess he became like her family now, like
Exactly.
they live together, se casaron.
So he would go long periods of time without speaking or seeing his family. Once again, the family was just like, we just want to see him happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever happens. After they married is when the trouble really began.
So after 3 years, because you said they dated for about 2.
Well, they dated since 2000 and... ¿Qué dije?
You said they dated for 2 years, and then they got married the following year,
Yes,
2005.
In 2005.
I guess like or after 3 years or so, that's when... Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so then, according to Eric, and he's like I said, he talks about this in the docuseries, they were in Hawaii for their honeymoon, and Eric dice que for some reason they got into an argument.
Okay.
It was an argument. It was their first argument as a married couple. And
in their honeymoon?
In their honeymoon.
At their honeymoon.
At their honeymoon, yeah. They're in Hawaii. And they had been there about a week y se pelearon. And he said que it was just crazy because Rosa had been a little bit stressed because I guess él pensó, well, maybe because of the wedding.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Or whatever, him thinking it was just from that.
The stress de la boda.
De la boda. But when they argued, this is the first time Rosa actually tried to hit him. She threw a punch at him.
At their honeymoon?
And in their honeymoon. And
it could have been when they were back home married for 5 years, but why are you doing that?
Yeah. And she did
not okay.
She did miss, but
she threw the punch.
But she threw the punch. And this is the beginning of when things started to change between them.
At your honeymoon? Fuck.
Once they returned home, Eric continued to work, pero Rosa, she decided to stay home because she wasn't going to work anymore. In addition, she didn't really say why she was staying home. She just said que ya no quería trabajar.
Okay,
which is fine.
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't like her job. They started to really go through some financial situations because of that. Like they started to get into big debt. So
was she spending like she wasn't supposed to, or como?
I don't know I don't know about that, but they did start to accumulate. I'm guessing, yeah, because they stated that they were accumulating debt and things were just very tense because of that. And at this time is when Eric also noticed that when he would come home from work, Rosa was very angry. She was always angry. Siempre estaba emputada. And he says that he would have to like tippy-toe around her porque le tenía
to not piss her off.
Yeah, to not piss her off. And this is also the time when Rosa started to really show her true colors and she wanted to control Eric to a point where no lo dejaba usar el teléfono. Si hablaba ella le tenía que dar permiso. Like she was controlling him.
And that's so, I mean, de por sí, how you said earlier, el pobre, so he was already introverted, shy, had like a few friends. He talked to his family.
Yeah.
I mean, what was she trying to control? You know what I mean? It's not like andaba like puro pinche party aquí todos los días and shit.
So now she is demanding for him to, now she's demanding, like no le está dando el choice. Now she's demanding for him not to see his family at all.
What?
And also, this is a point where he would only hang around with her and no one else. Pero si siempre está emputada.
Who wants to hang around somebody that's always fucking pissed? Emputada por qué?
Pues that's what, I don't know. It seems that...
You think maybe she was constipated?
Maybe, or tenía calor. So it seems like...
Maybe she had bad credit también.
Pues sí, at this point.
Yeah.
It seems like it was more of an insecurity thing for her, but...
Insecure how?
I don't know.
A menos que le haya encontrado algo that, nunca se supo, pero...
I mean, there was no records of that.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And based on how you said that he was at the beginning, it doesn't appear to have... Pero, I mean...
He just stayed away from everybody. Él no quería
para
problemas.
Complacerla. Yeah, he just didn't want to piss her off.
And the sad part is that he would even stop talking to his grandma. And they were
Sally?
and they were very close. So Rosa did become pregnant the year after, in 2006. And the couple had a daughter, and her name is Elizabeth. Eric, at this point now, is working 2 jobs because
they need the help.
They need the help.
They need the money, pues.
And not only that, pero she's not working.
Exactly.
Now menos porque she's having a baby. So their fights became more and more out of control. And around this time, his depression was back. So he was taking some medications before y todo esto, so he just started consistently taking them. And Rosa would always tell him que lo iba a dejar y que she was going to divorce and take the baby. And
oh my God.
All of this stuff.
Making it worse. Pues.
Making it worse, yeah. So, of course, this took a toll on Eric and his mental health. So él estaba bien deprimido, bien triste. And...
without the support of his family because no los veía.
Yes. So Rosa would demand, as I told you before, that he wouldn't spend time with his family. Pero ella...
She could hang out with her mom.
Oh, yeah. All the time in the world. And at times, Eric would come home and no estaba.
That's what I don't understand. I know you said that it was her insecurity, but insecurity of what? Like, how do you feel insecure about his family? It's his family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ni que lo anduvieran sacando para que ande allá like out on the streets or something.
So, and this is not just what he's saying, but this is records of people saying the same thing. Like, he just disappeared, right? So his depression was not it was just getting worse. And
was she still pregnant at this point?
No, she had the baby.
She had the baby?
And all he wanted was just to be with his daughter.
Right.
That's all he wanted. So in 2007 was finally when Rosa said, you need to leave the house. Lo corre. And Eric had nowhere to go. So...
Well, he had isolated himself from his family. Como he was just going to pop in there and be like, hey, guys.
That was my next comment.
How y'all doing?
How y'all doing? He had been isolated from everybody, so no tenía nadie. So he called his grandma, Sally, y Sally said, yeah, aquí te puedes quedar. And she took him right in.
You know what I just realized también? That Rosa, being the way that she was, también took his family away from their daughter. Like, that's Elizabeth's her name, right?
Yeah.
También le quitó la familia de él.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Sally lived alone. Ella dijo, pues I have space. Come on in. Y ella said, and she took him in. I mean, like I said, she was 91. So, I mean, just...
She wanted the companionship.
The companionship, yeah. So Sally actually was the cutest thing ever, Stella. She had a longtime boyfriend.
Oh.
So...
No, wait, like, now that you're talking about that Sally was like 90-something, yesterday I saw this video. I think it's a reel. Or I saw it on Threads, no me acuerdo. Bitch, me puse a llorar.
Oh my gosh.
It's that, I'll send it to you, pero es...
No, why? Why do you want me to cry? I don't want to cry. Just tell me about it.
Es un muchacho. He's telling his grandma that he's going to go back to Spain because he needs to work. And I don't know where they were living at the time. Y like she's older. I want to say late 90s, probably mid 90s por ahí. And he has to speak a little bit loud porque pues la señora, casi no escucha bien. Y le dice, oh, me tengo que ir. And she's like, ¿para dónde? And he's like, me voy para España porque tengo que trabajar tengo que hacer plata. And she's like, pero ¿quién me va a cuidar?
Aww.
He's like, nadie me cuida como tú. And she started like crying, and he started crying. Bitch, I started crying.
Everybody was crying.
Oh my God.
Everybody was crying.
I'm sending you.
No, I don't want to see it.
And she was crying.
Why would you want me to cry? That's
and then
so rude.
and then she was like, I'm gonna come back, and she was like, I hope that I'm still here by the time you make it back.
Oh wow.
And then he was like, no, you have to promise me that you're gonna wait until I come back. And she was like, I'm gonna. Oh my God, just thinking about it makes me want to cry. It was so sad. Yeah,
that is crazy. But anyway.
I'm like, who recorded this and put this online? Like, why are you trying to break people's hearts?
I know, but
and then people in the comments were like, so did he make it back? Like, did they ever see each other again?
I mean,
I want to know.
Well, stop being metiche, first of all. And
I live to be metiche.
I know, true. But Sally had a longtime boyfriend. I thought this was the cutest thing ever. And so his name is Lester. So Lester had been recently diagnosed with cancer, so he couldn't leave his house anymore. Sally and Lester would set a time every single day at the same time.
No vivían juntos.
Because, like I said, he had just been recently diagnosed with cancer. And
he probably had somebody que lo
drive
cuidaba.
and that kind of stuff. And so then
they had a time.
And every day they would talk at 4.
Aww.
And then every day Sally would answer the phone and they would talk for a little bit and everything.
¿Él le hablaba a ella o ella le hablaba a él?
No, él le hablaba a ella.
Oh,
pero ella
so
was always there.
She was waiting by the phone. De seguro. So cute.
So Eric tried very hard to stay in Elizabeth's life, okay? So very, very hard.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to wear these because I'm struggling.
She's been cleaning her glasses since we began the recording, and she can't. Like, they're out of...
I don't know what the hell tienen manteca, yo creo. I don't know. Pinche...
Tiene lard.
Y he tried very hard, Estela. Like, he really did. And he wanted to stay in Elizabeth's life as much as he could. She was his priority. And he did everything possible to make sure that she knew it. Rosa, on the other hand, was not interested in helping him stay in her life.
And how was she, like, making it? Like, money-wise?
He was giving her money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, like, when the divorce
what the arrangement
settled, like,
was or anything.
No,
so they actually divorced.
Yeah, no, they divorced.
Okay, I just thought that she had kicked him out or whatever.
But at this point, they're sharing custody.
Okay.
And she refused visitation.
Why is she like that?
For months.
What's her deal? I want to know.
I don't know. But when you see her picture, you'll see she looks like she's
a hater.
The biggest, and she looks like she's a
Let me see.
Bitch.
Let me pull her up.
Anyway, so
you said her name was what?
Rosa Hill. So Eric, like I said, he tried and his best and everything, and Rosa refused to let Eric see Elizabeth on her first birthday. And that was when Eric was like, dude, no, you're not doing this to me. I need to see my daughter. So he decided to take it to court.
And she's doing it on purpose to fuck with him, right? Wow.
And he petitioned to have shared custody. He just wanted to see his daughter.
Yeah,
like,
literally. Like, he didn't want to fuck with her, like, con su ex-wife.
No. This made Rosa very upset. Super upset. And she decided to contact Eric's employer, one of the 2 jobs that he had.
Wait, I'm sorry. What about her mom? Didn't her mom like Eric? Like...
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So she contacted his employer and she told them that Eric was off of his medication and that he had told Rosa that he was going to bring a gun to school, to work, and shoot up the place.
Bro, she looks una mosca muerta.
So Eric was suspended from work.
Bitch.
But it is going to affect her too, dude, because...
Yeah, él te está dando dinero.
Right? He denies. Like, he's like, I never said that. There's no way.
Yeah.
Bro, they even have proof that he doesn't even own a gun, dude. Like, he's like, no. So Eric was cleared from ever saying this or intending to bring a gun to work. Like, there was nothing there. So now Rosa was like... Le salió el tiro por la culata because she ended up going in, when they went into the court was like, dude, you're making these false accusations. So they gave Eric half of the time. So they gave them 50-50. So then after that, she goes back to court.
Okay.
Y les dice que Eric was sexually molesting their daughter.
Wow.
While,
Dude, what is wrong with this lady?
I don't know.
¿Por qué tiene tanto coraje? I don't understand.
Me neither. But I think she was, we'll get there.
Okay.
So Eric said that he was shocked that Rosa would even
take it that
say
far.
that. Or
Yeah.
Exactly, take it that far. And he was investigated. The little girl was checked and there was nothing.
Right.
It was a false accusation. So that would once again backfire on Rosa. Because
Isn't that like a strike against her?
Exactly. So this time she was ordered to go under a court order psych eval, like an evaluation to make sure that she was okay up here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she gave them a hard time and she just, no hacía lo que debía hacer. And when she did go under the evaluation, she was found just to be paranoid and acting bizarre. Okay.
But like mentally ill or just being
and
weird?
And that she had delusions and paranoia.
Okay.
So time goes on and now she keeps taking Eric to court, pero haciendo mamadas, So then she keeps losing actually more and more custody rights because
each time that she tries to do something against him.
Exactly. So now at this point, Eric got custody of Elizabeth to where he was going to be 100% of his legal custody. Legal guardian, excuse me. And 85 of the physical guardianship.
So was she going to have like
15% of time with
her?
With Elizabeth.
With Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. Did they have to be supervised or you don't know?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
So with the past, we know that Rosa was not happy about this.
Yeah.
Like she was
fuming, de seguro. Yeah.
And not only Rosa, but her mother too. So Mai was infuriated también.
Why? Lady.
So Mai was actually involved in the two. Eric dice que he would have to talk to Mai sometimes because the fights were so bad que he didn't want that for his daughter. So ella...
And he knew that he wasn't going to get through to Rosa de todos modos.
Exactly. So él hablaba con Mai. De esa manera they would get something done, right?
Yeah.
She was kind of like their mediator. Yeah. Uh-huh. And Eric did say that Mai was friendly to him. She's like, he was friendly and,
she was friendly.
I mean, that she was friendly to him, y que todo estaba bien. And then Eric at this point is still staying with Sally.
Right.
Right? And all of this is going on between the dispute, pero él está quedándose con Sally.
Con su grandma.
Eric did work and he continued to give Rosa money. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what their agreement was, so I don't know.
But he, like you say, he still had 100% custody of...
Yes. Pero
Elizabeth.
The cutest thing was that Eric says that this was the best time because he was able to connect with his daughter. His daughter was little. It's because that age is good.
Yeah.
That age is really good, like 1, 2 por ahí, and that's a good age. And he said that he was just enjoying the time that he had with her, right? Now,
it's a lot of firsts that you get to experience with your child.
We're going to January 7th again, but now we're going to earlier that day.
Okay.
Instead
of the beginning of this case where you started later
that's
in
what
the
I'm
day.
saying. January 7th.
Pero earlier.
2009.
Yeah.
But the same day, but earlier.
Yes.
Okay. So Elizabeth at this time is around 2, like I said before. And Eric took his daughter like he normally would every day to daycare. Okay. That was their routine. Sally was home that day. And Lester had...
Called her?
No. Lester and her had an agreement of a 4 o'clock, call.
Yeah.
So ellos ya estaban like prepared. She was getting prepared for that or whatever. And Sally and him had been together for 10 or 11 years por ahí.
Holy shit.
Like they had been for a while. Yeah. Since they were in their 80s. Because, I mean, Sally's like 91.
Yeah.
And Lester, I think, was like 90 or something. Like they're almost the same age. Lester calls right at 4. Sin falta.
Right.
And there is no answer.
Okay.
Then he calls again 5 minutes later.
Oh.
Y nada. And the sad part is que they have like the recording que él deja, like the answering machine.
Oh, like answering machine.
Que él deja y le dice, Sally, it's me. You're supposed to, whatever.
Answer.
Y nada. He calls a few more times until he started to worry. So he calls his son and his daughter-in-law, Jeff, and I think her name was Jeff and Router or something like that. I think their last name was Router. I don't know. The couple agreed to go and make a trip over to Sally's home and go check on her. Now, at the same time, viene llegando Eric and Elizabeth
a la
casa de su abuelita, or de Eric at that time.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth venía caminando, and when they're walking up to the door, Eric heard que Sally no le contestaba a Lester.
Ya llegaron al mismo tiempo, pues.
Al mismo tiempo, y que
We're worried.
Lester was worried.
Yeah.
Y entonces Eric was worried too because, she's 91.
And Eric knew his grandma's routine, you know?
Exactly. So Eric and the Rose, Rose, I don't know, but Rose entered the home and they both entered, pero ellos se quedaron abajo and Eric went straight to her room because her room was upstairs.
Okay.
Eric and Elizabeth.
Y todavía estaba bien maciza la señora walking
caminaba.
upstairs y toda la cosa. Wow.
So Elizabeth and Eric went straight upstairs to look for grandma, pero they didn't find her in her room. Instead, when he got up to the stairs is when he sees Mai standing in the hallway.
Ugh.
Yeah. Eric asked,
what the fuck? He was
what are you doing here?
Bitch.
Right? So then she says, oh, Sally called me for help. So then he asks her, where is she? Y Mai le dice, she's in the garage. So él empieza a dar la vuelta so that he can go back and look the garage. Elizabeth runs to her grandma or whatever. Or Mai.
Yeah.
And then Rosa jumps out of one of the bedrooms.
What?
Eric said that all he could tell was that she was wearing a black trench coat and she was tasing him.
What?
That's all that he remembers.
What?
Yeah. So then Mai starts hitting Eric with the baton while he's tased on the floor.
In front of his daughter.
Apparently, she put Elizabeth in the restroom y le cerró la puerta. La encerró.
And they're thinking que él está solo en la casa, que llegó solo con Elizabeth.
Exactly. So Eric said that all he could hear, this broke my heart, was that his daughter was crying. And she was scared because estaba apagada la luz.
Wow.
So the daughter is screaming for her daddy.
Yeah.
So the Rose are still downstairs.
Right.
Right? And they're like,
what the fuck is going on?
So they ran to the neighbors to call 911.
Fuck yeah.
So that's when we start the story. While they're gone, Rosa and Mai were at the same time beating Eric with batons. Cada una tenía un baton.
What is going on?
While hitting and kicking him at the same time. Right? At one point, Mai drops the baton. And Eric
picks it up.
Y
les da.
Y le da un putazo a Mai en la cabeza.
It's not funny, pero bro, like, what is going on here?
Wait. It gets better.
I'm so confused.
I know, it gets better. So then, ella, I don't know how, she ends up grabbing the baton back from him, and they start...
Well, yeah, he was fucking tased.
Yeah.
Like,
so then she gets on top of him because he's on the floor, and she puts the baton aquí en la neck.
Yeah.
Y luego she's pressing on it, and she's trying to choke him. At the same time, Rosa's still beating the shit out of him with the baton, right? Y luego, Eric says que they're pressuring it, and then whenever he's trying to fight back or whatever, and they're choking him, and then Rosa pulls out a gun and puts it in Eric's chest.
Oh my God.
So at this point, Eric is sitting there with the gun on his chest.
And a baton on his neck. On his neck.
And Rosa tells him to stop fighting. So he stops. She then cocks the gun.
Oh shit.
And she says, no, nada. She doesn't say a word. Mai demands that he said that he would give up custody of Elizabeth. So le dice, you have to say you're giving up custody. So Eric said, I feared for my life.
Yeah.
He's like, I said whatever they want.
Just so they could let him live.
He didn't agree with it, but he's like, okay.
In that moment, he's probably like, I just need to say whatever I need to say to get them to not kill me.
At this point, he hears the sirens. So he knows that they're coming.
Yeah.
So the cops come in, and this is when the cops are like confused. Because está a white male standing here at the entrance of the hall, and then there's a Asian female.
So by this point, yeah, they had let him get up, I guess.
Because the cops come in. So they let him go.
And because, okay.
Pero, hold on. So then, at this point, Eric está standing aquí. Está Mai standing away from him, bleeding from her head.
Porque aquí le dio un vergazo con el baton.
Yeah, there's blood everywhere because of the batons and all of this.
Everybody, he was getting beat on, and then he beat on Mai and stuff.
And guess what? Rosa's not there.
Where'd she go?
So let me tell you. Not only that, there's guns, like stun guns on the floor. There's like bullets on the floor. Like, I don't know what the fuck, batons and shit. And so the cops are like, what the fuck? And they come up there and they see Eric standing with his back to them. And Mai's bleeding. So they're like, what the fuck is going on? So Eric ran into a bedroom que estaba en un lado. He threw himself in there, even though the police told him not to move. Because he later says que Rosa estaba en el otro room pointing a gun at him.
Oh.
So he's like, I didn't want to get shot. So por eso se aventó and the police tased him.
Because they didn't know. They didn't see what he was seeing. Yeah. Dude, that's fucked up. Pobre.
He didn't want to be shot. So then, they didn't know. Eric gets tased and at this time he's screaming, please, is my daughter okay?
Yeah.
She's in the restroom. And they're like, okay, dude, chill out. So now police did find Rosa in the room cuando estaba escondida como que si fuera cucaracha.
Con una trench coat.
Con una trench coat negra. And so then they did tell her, we're all going to the fucking police station, right? And then Mai estaba puteada, so se la llevaron en el ambulance.
And then that's when you said that Eric también was asking, hey, where's my grandma?
That's what I was about to say. Okay. Like I said earlier, the police was not sure who the victim or the aggressor was.
Yeah.
So Eric is just trying to tell the police, hey, where's my grandma?
She's probably like, my daughter, my grandma.
Yeah, can you please find my grandma? Les decía. And you can see in the reenactment donde lo están metiendo al cop, and he's like, please, I just need to find my grandma. They told me she was in the garage. Pero he's like,
I never made it to the garage.
Well, he didn't say all that, but
yeah.
So then the police is like, we got you, bro. We're going to look for her.
Yeah.
And so they took him to the police station and started interrogating. The police started to look for Sally everywhere because they're like, okay, now están ellos. The neighbors are saying que Sally lives there. So where is Sally?
Yeah.
Okay. So they couldn't find her, dude.
She wasn't in the garage?
She wasn't in the garage. They
looked
in the
garage.
Casa? Nothing. So they're looking or whatever. And Rosa, she was, girl, calm, collected, and cool, girl. Como un pinche cucumber. La llevaron, le preguntaron qué pedo con ella, y ella dijo que she was going to talk. She said, I'm going to tell you
what happened.
She was telling them, according to her, she was there to discuss custody. And she was waiting for Eric. And when Eric got home, but according to her, she never saw Sally, though. She never saw Sally.
But how did you get inside?
Exactly. And when Eric got home, he became aggressive and upset because they were there and she feared for her life. So she defended herself.
But how are you? I know we know where this is going, but like to me, I'm like, but how did you get inside the house if he wasn't in there?
Yeah.
You know?
So
you broke in?
What Rosa didn't know was that the police was still looking for Sally in la casa. And they eventually found her, and it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So the police said that they went around the backyard y que there was like a shed outside. Y que when they went back there, they were like, well, let's go in there. But the shed estaba locked.
Okay.
So then they're like, we have to open the fucking shed. So they opened the shed. And they wanted to make sure que no estaba Sally allí, ¿verdad? Mm-hmm. And they called y no estaba. They broke open the shed. And what they discovered... not pretty. There was a garbage can.
Okay.
In the middle of the shed. And it was piled with bed sheets on top. When they were like, okay, well, this is just a fucking garbage can. So when they went to look closer, they see a human foot. Mm-hmm. They had taken her body and they had stuffed her in the trash bin.
Wow.
And then put sheets on top of it.
And locked the shed.
So there was apparent struggle of strangulation, and there was a lot of cuts and lacerations on her.
So she fought.
Oh,
wow.
She put up a fight on her hands and on her everywhere. Mm-hmm. Now they arrest Mai and Rosa for what happened to Sally. Also, while they were out there on the shed, they find by the shed, they find that estaba como una backpack. It was just at a place. It was just a black backpack.
¿Adentro o afuera?
No, afuera. So by where the fence is at, estaba la mochila. So they were like, okay, so what is in this backpack, right? So let me tell you what was in the backpack, Stella. A pocket saw.
The fuck?
packaging tape, a master long casting fishing reel, a rope, crossbow arrows,
Oh my God.
a knife, a pry bar, and a 22 caliber ammunitions. Why? I don't know. What do you
That's a
need
lot
all
of
this
stuff.
for?
Yeah.
Then the police also found a gray Prius que estaba parked a few blocks away. So Rosa's father was in there. His
Okay.
name is Ping, and he was waiting for them.
His name is.
Ping.
Okay.
Ping, and he was waiting for them so that they can like leave.
Okay.
So he was a getaway car.
Yeah.
And
Driver también.
the driver. And whenever they went through the car, and there was another backpack in there. And in that backpack, they had May's business cards. They had her driver's license, a flashlight, a red wig, pepper spray, a headlamp, and directions to Sally's house.
What?
Yep. Oh, and they also found a crossbow.
Otro.
No, the other one was just the arrows. This one was the actual crossbow.
Oh.
So when the investigation continued, police found out that Rosa and May had been doing some internet searches, like how to get away with murder and how to strangle somebody.
You know, I would assume that she is a smart person, you know? Like, she has an engineering degree and stuff. But don't you think that
No.
all this is going to come up?
No,
when you
because
search?
remember the people that have bad in their hearts, they're dumb. They're always dumb. But thank God that they are, because, you know.
Yeah.
And also information on arsenic and cyanide and mustard gas. I've never heard of mustard gas.
I think they use that on people that protest and stuff like that. 'Cause they want to disperse them.
Okay.
I think they use mustard gas.
I've never heard of that, but
I think don't
they
quote me on
also
that.
searched for there were searches for taser guns, stun guns, and gun silencer, and how to break into someone's home.
Quick side story. Now that you said silencer,
Mm-hmm.
somebody that I know knows somebody that they know that knows somebody that bought a silencer off Temu and they got in trouble with the laws.
Why would you buy a silencer off Temu? Why?
I don't know.
Please don't buy don't buy silencers. Just don't buy them. Well, did you hear about, sorry, side story again. Did you hear about those kids? There was a story not too long ago. There were some kids in Dallas, or like in the Dallas area, that they were making them. They were making silencers and selling them online, like on Facebook and shit. Why? They were kids. They were like teens.
I don't know.
But anyway.
Don't be making silencers and don't be buying them off Temu.
Please. This is crazy. Also, like I said, Sally's body, once she was taken out of the garbage bin, they did her autopsy, and it showed that she did die from asphyxiation, due to strangulation, and multiple blunt injuries. It looked like
multiple what?
Blunt injuries, and she had been shot with the stun gun.
Well, I bet you I'm sure they hit her with the same batons que le andaban pegando a Eric.
Bro, like, una viejita, dude,
I
¿qué te
know.
hace?
Do you think she just happened to be there cuando llegaron, right? Or did they know?
I'm gonna go. Okay. So then after that, the DNA that was found on the taser, it was consistent with Sally, unfortunately. Yeah. And they also found the baton that was at the scene had DNA from Eric and Mai. So remember that I was telling you que lo estaban puteando? Well,
it was part of the scene.
Also, there was, when they did search Rosa, remember when I told you she was wearing that trench coat? Yeah. They did find the gun that she had on herself. Now, they also found some evidence once they went to their homes of them, Rosa and Mai. They were coming up with the plan, and they were writing it down like in a plan, como
like a manifesto.
No, como un planner. Y estaban diciendo, and they called it Operation Custody.
What the fuck?
So this is what they were writing. They would monitor Selma's routine, like what time she went to like the garage.
What?
Yeah. When the door was closed and open. Closed. Let's say that again. Documented the times that Selma's garage door opened and closed, indicating surveillance of her daily activities. They had a list of weapons. The notes listed various weapons and tools such as guns, stun guns, a sword, a hammer,
What?
a crossbow, and a throat cutter,
What?
a knife, and a baton.
Wait, what's a throat cutter?
I don't know. And I didn't want to look it up because me da miedo.
Like a box cutter, but
For a throat?
they call it throat cutters?
I don't know.
What the hell?
I don't know.
I've never heard of that.
So then it was later, most of these were found in their possession. And then they had a kidnapping plan.
What?
So the documents detailed a scheme to kidnap Eric Hill, murder him, and dispose of his body to prevent discovery. Then also they fabricated evidence, the plan including forging a suicide note from Eric, falsely confessing to murder of his grandmother and the molestation of his daughter aiming to eliminate obstacles to Rosa gaining custody of Elizabeth.
So this is what I understand, and tell me if this is true. So they knew that they wanted to kill Sally.
Yep.
And then make it seem that Eric did it.
Yep.
And then kill Eric.
Yep.
And then write fake confession notes that he killed his grandma and sexually abused his own daughter.
Yep.
So Rosa could get custody
of Elizabeth.
What is wrong with these people?
I don't know.
Understand.
So I heard somewhere or read something, I don't remember where, because like I was trying to research.
everything.
There wasn't a lot out here about this case, and I didn't want to go based on the Netflix
All
special,
of it, yeah.
because I'm like, dude, I'm just going to be repeating and people can just watch that.
Yeah.
So I did read or hear somewhere que it sounded like Rosa and May, they both wanted, it seemed like May wanted for Rosa to have a child. Like she wanted to be a grandma that bad. And so then when Rosa kind of was having a hard time,
meeting somebody,
she introduced her, and she knew Eric was a good guy. So, and then
but to do all of that?
Pero porque le quitaron la custody. But my deal is like,
get artificially inseminated.
Not only that, but it was Rosa's fault.
Yeah.
She was the one doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Pero yo creo que ella pensaba que le iban a salir bien las cosas, and they didn't.
But why did you throw a punch at your husband at your honeymoon?
I think something was wrong with her, pero my thought.
And how you as a mom, like, this man. You worked with this man.
Yeah.
You were nice to this man.
Yeah.
And then you killed his grandma, and you plan to kill him. Mm-hmm. What?
Pero I don't know. So in 2011, they went to trial, and they were sentenced, or at least Rosa was sentenced to 36 years to life in prison, and Mai received 25 years to life. I didn't find any information if they charged the dad or if anything was brought to him. I didn't find it
against him.
In 2015, there was an appeal because they wanted to see if say something about the evidence or something like that, and the court said no, ma'am. They were like, nope, you are gonna stay the same. Mm-hmm. So that was the case.
And I'm assuming que Elizabeth
stayed with her dad, and her dad takes such a good care of her, and she's grown up to be such a wonderful, young lady, and he's so proud of her. There's pictures of her I think there's pictures not of her, pero like with her in el docu. Y he's like just
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that he was able to reconnect with his family, and
his dad actually was in the interview. He was interviewed. Wow. And he was there, and he said
that was his mom that got killed, right?
Yeah, and he said he didn't understand why they would do that to somebody that
pobrecito. Y luego pues el novio de la señora.
He died only, I think, a few months after. Sally. So they don't, I mean, obviously he had cancer, so
yeah, but they just don't know if that's sped up his
but he did die unfortunately. And yeah, I mean, this case was crazy to me.
No, pero like, how do you, obviously you fake it that long, because they did it for a couple of years, bitch. Mm-hmm. And then they got married a year after. Mm-hmm. Like, you fake it for years? I mean, I know people do that, but that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, and maybe she was just a bitch all along. Pero
that's what I'm saying.
She was trying. I don't know why. I guess the pressure of her mom. Pero like, bro, I don't know, as a mom, like, I have a child. I would never pressure her into doing something she doesn't want to do.
I mean,
especially not have a kid and a husband.
It sounds like Rosa made her own fucking decisions,
Yes,
and they were
yes.
going.
But they were both making decisions they weren't supposed to do. So I don't know, but I'm really happy for Eric and his daughter. Obviously, you know, his grandma did not have to pass away like that. She should have been.
But I mean, and imagine growing up as being Elizabeth, and I mean, she was there. I mean, she was in the bathroom, locked, or I mean, encerrada or whatever. Pero she was there when they were doing all of that. So,
and in the docu, like Eric, he starts crying and he's like, I just wanted her to be safe. I was just so worried, and I couldn't get to her.
Yeah,
and I wanted her to stay safe. And it's like, oh my God, imagine like this is supposed to be the mother of your child.
Yeah,
you know, the person you're supposed to spend your whole life with,
or you're going to be in each other's lives for the rest of your lives.
Exactly. So this is the case of Sally Hill and, well, Rosa Hill, Sally Hill, Eric Hill, and Miley.
That's crazy.
Let us know what you think. You know what I was thinking? At one point I was like...
You're like, I'm going to let you know what I think.
know what I was thinking.
Yeah.
¿Por qué no nada más encerraron a la viejita? Like, what was she going to do to them?
No, but they needed her.
I know, but I know what you mean. Pero I'm like, dude, la mala habían encerrado, pobrecita. Like, y'all didn't have to. Y luego, ¿para qué chingado la echaban en el bote, dude? Como si fuera basura.
Yeah, but I mean, that was their plan.
Yeah, they had a plan of the custody.
Yeah.
¿Cómo se llamaba? ¿Custody qué?
Custody.
Operation Custody.
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyhow, if you'd like to follow us on Instagram, you can at
Cafecito and Crime Pod. And if you would like to download our episodes, rate us, and or leave us a review, we would really appreciate it. You can listen to us anywhere that you listen to podcasts. That also includes YouTube now, audio only.
Yeah. And I just want y'all to know, Estela still has her glasses on her head. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Now I'm going to put them on my face.
Oh, jeez.